The restaurant industry continues to feel the impact of the pandemic. The National Restaurant Association says 88% of restaurants experienced a decline in demand in recent weeks due to the Omicron variant. And a new survey found that 76% of restaurant operators are seeing a decline in business, even worse than 3 months ago. The hardship comes as restaurants are still trying to recoup losses from the last 2 years. Today, the National Restaurant Association sent a letter to Congress asking lawmakers to replenish the nearly $29 billion restaurant revitalization fund in the upcoming legislation package. The fund ran out of money last year, awarding grants to just a third of restaurant operators who applied.